Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of this aggressively average content, an El Toro Loco special, and Waters Above has returned. Bro, since the last time we talked, I think there's been a lot that's happened. Um, World War III is full fledged. The lizards are out and about, not hiding anything at all. And I think we are gearing up for an XRP moon mission. Personally speaking, I don't know about you, I've been gearing up for years now for an aggressive and explosive altcoin season. And I personally speculate we are going to be hitting that altcoin season in the not too distant future. But the reason I have you here on this emergency episode, brother, is because I saw one of your tweets the other day saying you think by a specific date, XRP can hit a specific price. And I wanted you here in front of my audience to just share your knowledge and expertise as to why you have this hypothesis. Waters above. Let the people know what you think, man.
Well, first off, thanks for having me back on. I hope you're doing well, man. It's great to reconnect. It's been a minute. Hope you and
For
your
sure.
hope you and your family are doing well.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, my thesis has been that we're likely to have Bitcoin dominance start to collapse sometime uh sooner than later, and I believe it will happen before the end of this year. And I've been pointing to before September to be much more detailed, and it looks like July into August would be a very sensible time for this to occur, just because the length of time that the altcoins in general, not just XRP, but all the altcoins in general, have been coiling up. So it's been quite a while of having this sideways, boring, arduous trading range for altcoins whilst not entering price discovery, which is the case also for things like Solana and Ethereum.
Yep.
So XRP has actually been one of the better investments uh, from investing in the bear market till today, because you can see a lot of altcoins have taken quite a slide since Trump's inauguration.
Hmm.
And with it holding above $2 for, I don't even know how many, it's been well over 200 days now. I
Hmm.
think it's been 30 weeks of closing above $2. That's an incredibly strong thing to see. And the memery in this market, I think, is still pretty powerful. But once that subsides and a lot of people get back on track, I think Bitcoin dominance rolling over sooner than later could lead to pretty explosive move in the altcoins, similarly to what we saw in 2021, the end of 2017, etc.
Excellent. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, Waters. A big reason why I really wanted to talk to you as soon as possible is because you have a tweet out titled XRP Army. We're about to have an XRP summer, $15 XRP by July 24th. Is that something you genuinely believe is likely or probable?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at the way these altcoins move once Bitcoin dominance starts to pull back,
Hmm.
it could be a 500% move in 40 days, a 600% move in 35 days. We've even seen some altcoins move up 1,000% in a single month. So where XRP is at right now, it's kissing its prior all-time high, and it's
Hmm.
pretty much been holding this for what, 7 years now. So all we need is to break into price discovery for this, and it should be a very explosive move straight to $8. I would suspect it can rapidly go to about 7 to 8. And then once it gets above that psychological resistance, I believe $15 makes a lot of sense. And
Hmm.
the timing of it would make sense to occur before the month of September starts. And there's a lot of reasons why. I've probably shared this in past interviews that we've done together. But there's a very powerful eclipse that's at the start of September. And if you look at when we just had the last eclipse in the market in March, we saw the market topped out before that and had a major correction through that eclipse or through that eclipse season. And
Hmm.
then we sort of resumed for Bitcoin for the most part. And Bitcoin's now back as high as it was during the inauguration. I kind of feel XRP is bound to follow with Bitcoin in synchronicity. So I don't think there should be too much lag, actually. Similarly to how the last alt season went, where we just had a little bit of a push for Bitcoin into new all-time highs, and then we saw the Bitcoin dominance rolling over. So this can happen very rapidly. And like I said, I think into the month of July, August is when it makes the most sense. And then as for like the exact date and target, I need to remind people this is a fractal. I could show you really quickly. This is the fractal that I pulled from the 2017 cycle. And it's
Mhm.
showing us that if I was to match the amount of the move we did from the breakout in November to where we just stopped out December into inauguration timeframe, the sideways consolidation range that we've been trading within has been pretty much identical. And if we were to consider how I've shrink that fractal from breakout to top, it shows that the next impulse of the fractal should be bringing us to the $15 zone. But
Mm.
it's going to be very short-lived. Like the thing that's
Yes.
problematic with XRP is we don't have any proof of how it trades in price discovery past the impulse because we've been stuck in this horizontal trading range since the beginning of 2018. So we would hope that this actually pushes into this range and holds, but that's another conversation. I think most alt seasons, even with XRP, are pretty much a breakout dump. We call it like like a blow off top.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a fascinating point because we've never seen how XRP could hold after new all-time highs because it has been one of those more just basic level altcoins. But now it's like there's more institutional clarity, there's more legal clarity, ETFs on the way, all these different fundamental changes on it that people would have reason to believe that there should be more strength as opposed to just a 90% pullback, right? And
Right.
and I'm a proponent of that. I don't think it will be like a let me be clear. I think there's definitely going to be a pullback after whatever major impulse XRP has because like price jumps like that aren't necessarily sustainable.
Right.
But I don't think it's going to be as cataclysmic as other altcoins, if that makes sense. And I'm curious to know this $15 target is just based on this fractal, right? But I think
No,
numerous times.
there's a technical reason for it, but when we're talking about the
Okay,
timing and the price, I think I just want to get this out of the way. I think people are memeing the fuck out of this tweet that I made. Like
I'm okay.
they're removing all the beauty and the glory of like everything that I've done in my career and like reducing it down to a tweet. And I find that to be very toxic. But again, that's what Twitter is, right? It's like a cesspool of like this. Yeah, I don't know, I'm not trying to be aggressive right now. I just feel like that's what this becomes, and people wipe away everything else.
Sure.
And like I just love it too at the same time. I'm like, yeah, I knew once I made this tweet like it's gonna be big and I know it's gonna be memed to shit. And yeah, just get ready for whatever it becomes, like even recently with the little pullback, people were like losing their minds, and it's like
Yeah.
we're at the same fucking price we were 2 weeks ago. What do you tell these people? So yeah.
Absolutely nothing. No, I get that for sure. But the reason, like, we can get into the technical level or the technicals you were using to help get to this level before
Sure.
because this seems reasonable to me. But we had also had a number of videos where we've been discussing um, just XRP reaching a 1618 retracement level, and that could be the $26-27 range. And
Right.
that was where we had achieved in the 2017 cycle. And if we are in fact repeating this cycle now with 2017, which a lot of people speculate we are, myself included, um, that we could hit those 26-ish dollar levels. I wouldn't be shocked to see that, but I also think 15 is very reasonable. So what I'm here to ask is, timing is impossible. That's not why I'm here. Is $15 the conservative level that you think is accurate, more accurate
Mm,
than that 1618 that we had been discussing previously? Because I'm really trying to zero in on where we could realistically be
yeah.
going. Yeah.
I think the 26 to I think the $25 range is pretty high, and
Okay.
I'm open to it, but I've been I've been talking a little bit lately, and this will provide some context to future videos that I'll make. But like, I'm feeling there still is actually a possibility for this cycle to go all the way into Q4, and for us to have like a a near mimic of what happened in 2017, where we get all the way into the end of the year. We have the true all-time high for Bitcoin in like October, November, December, and then we have an alt season like immediately after that, and it's a very rapid alt season. There's a
Mm-hmm.
possibility for that. And if we look at like what Dogecoin did in the last cycle, Doge did what XRP did in 2017,
Mm.
where it had like two impulses, right? And this is what makes the cycle a little bit tricky, because if we're to entertain this $27 1618 level, which
Mhm.
by the way, Bearable Bull is getting this from pulling the, let me put it on like the weekly. And this chart's a little messy, guys, but I'll walk everyone through it very quickly just to provide some context. So there's a fib pull from the prior all-time high December into January 2018 to the swing low of the C19 crash effectively. And that gives you the 1618 target all the way up here at 27, right? So, in order for us to get there, I think we would need to have a 4-year, like actual full 4-year cycle where we would need this extended into Q4 of this year. I don't think we can get there by September or August, but I do think there's a possibility that we could get above 10 in August
Mm.
personally. Um, Now, what gets us there would be very interesting because we've seen a lot of negative narratives kicking in, and the market for the most part has recovered. The Nasdaq hit a new all-time high today, right?
Yes.
So while the world is going to shit, we're still seeing this bull run, and that was the 2020 vibes.
Hmm.
So even in 2020, when we had a lawsuit, et cetera, your whole community knows this, so it's irrelevant to touch on the details. But we saw from the initial crash with all the delistings for XRP still go up 1,000% in 100 days. So my thoughts here are whatever occurs, I think people need to be sophisticated about their exit strategy here, because I worry when we say things like 25, again, people meme the shit out of it and they're like, you said $25, and it's like, bro, like, you need to get out of the market the same way you get in the market. So if I had to be honest about conservative targets, I think $8 is a very good conservative area,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
$10 is a psychological level that we don't know what will happen there. Like Bitcoin hitting $10 for the first time. Have you ever looked at what that was like? Okay. So,
Yeah.
anyways, the point that I'm making here is like people need to understand that I get that a lot of the people that are in the XRP community, they study a lot about the partnerships and like all the things that are going on behind the scenes, but like it's just a speculative asset. It goes up and down in price based on speculation. And what could be the speculative pump between 10 and 20 could happen in a single trading day, right?
Mm.
We've seen 100% candle in XRP many times. So the swipe through to those levels on a blow off top, of course that's possible. I'm entertaining that, but I'm just providing the disclaimer alongside it. It won't last long.
Yes, I agree.
In my opinion, anything above 15 to 30 will not last long. It just won't. In my opinion, I might be wrong, and I'm a big XRP holder, so this benefits me if we go to 20, but I'm just being honest, like I don't see the market cap getting there right now. There would just have to be a lot of change.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense to me. Excellent. Now, this specific, now that's with the 1618. I understand this. So let's just dissect what you said a little bit. If we happen to have this quote unquote blow off top that could happen in quarter 4, what conditions would need to be met for that to occur?
The end of QT, QE,
Okay.
I think we need some serious change in what the Fed's doing. Um,
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think we would need in general, people need to feel like to trust this market again. I think everything that happened in the inauguration made a lot of people no longer trust the market. And even today, the main like feedback I'm getting for new investors is like, I'm tired. You know what I mean? Which, by the
Mhm.
way, if you're saying that right now, shut the fuck up.
That's
Like, you're in the wrong sport. But I'm just speaking.
honestly saying that to me. I'm like, please get out of my face, bro.
Exactly. But exactly.
Tired.
But
They probably you just got here, bro.
yeah. Yeah. You're in the wrong sport. It's okay.
You're in the
There's
wrong
plenty of other
sport.
sports out there.
Yeah.
This isn't it. But yeah, to be completely honest, like I think I'm getting this feedback that people either don't trust the market, they don't trust the idea of a bull run, they don't trust what could come next in
But
like
that's
this.
the perfect energy, right? That is.
I believe so, yes. I believe exactly. That's why what just happened like over the past week has been, well, look at the market today. Like look at the stock market today. It's like it's all just distractions. And again, there's
Yeah.
real people involved that are suffering right now, but that the market doesn't give a fuck about that. The
No,
market
bro.
is a ruthless beast, and it
And if
wants.
anything, war is bullish for crypto. Very,
I
in my
believe
opinion.
so. Yeah, I believe so. Well, war effectively translates to printing money, right?
Yes.
More money getting printed. So, but I gotta, let people know that it's the same thing I keep doing every time I have these talks. It's like I don't know if a $25 XRP means the world will get better. Like
Yeah.
I don't think $200 Bitcoin equals better world. And even if it's in your local world, like if you became a multimillionaire in the middle of C19 during the lockdown, like you still had to sit in your fucking home all day.
Yep.
Yeah, like you still couldn't just like pop on a flight and go wherever I mean, you could, like, but my point being is that like there's gonna be events that unfold in the world stage, and I'm not saying this to like inject fear into anybody. It's just to be honest with what's going on. Like as asset prices rise, it all rises together.
Mhm.
So yeah, like I think you just need to be savvy. But I do think in 2026 we're gonna have amazing buying opportunities for everything, including um, housing, a lot of things. I think we're overdue for a correction. And initial printing of money, we all know what that leads to. So we're in a weird place right now, man. Where like that's the stuff that I like talking about the most when it comes to markets. Like, yay, we'll have our big alt season, blah blah blah. But like, what are we gonna do with that wealth? And I worry like we're not really set up to, yeah, we're not set up for that conversation, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of people, especially a lot of crypto bros. They just look at charts, price go up, good for me.
Right.
And but all these markets have different effects on different parts of the world, right? So that's very real. I think the human element and the technical element do need to be isolated very quickly, because if we're just talking about making money, we just have to be level headed and grounded. I see a lot of people getting emotional about the wars and things going on, and everyone wants to have a hot take. Personally speaking, my hot take was that it we probably, like, I'm just paying attention to the price of oil. If it goes up, this is going to be bad for crypto. If it goes down, all right, we're going to be in a good place.
Yeah.
And things seem to be getting better a couple days ago when oil was like following a pretty decent trend line downwards, where it's not trying to spike up. And I was speculating that we weren't going to be in a place where things were going to continue. And even though they're still, doing whatever, it doesn't seem cataclysmic or anything yet. So, um, what I ask people to do is to not be distracted right now, to focus on making your money for yourself and your families, to lock in, because while XRP is gearing up to have its own little profit taking opportunities, other altcoins are going to be prepared as well. And I guess my question to you is, Waters, is do you believe, do you feel like XRP could be gearing up to move ahead of the market, to be like a leader, like kind of, how Bitcoin leads the market,
Yeah.
and then because in 2017, that
Yes.
is something that happened in like March,
Yes.
April, that initial pump. And
Yeah.
in my personal opinion, That is the golden scenario for XRP holders. If XRP pumps first and we hit our close to highs first, we can rotate a lot of that money into other suppressed altcoins with high ROI potential, and that will be the golden scenario for maximum multipliers. That is a prayer that I've thrown up. So I really want to know, is that what could be happening? Is XRP looking to be prepared to front run this market?
I mean, I feel there's something there with that theory, but I don't know necessarily if it's going to be isolated by a measurable enough amount of days or weeks to be able to pull that move off. But it's not to say that your thesis is, or I don't even know if that's your thesis. If anything, it's just an idea you're sharing. I don't know
It's
if
my
that.
golden scenario. It's the best
Okay.
case scenario for
Okay.
XRP holders. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a good way to present the idea.
Yeah.
What I will say is that I think, and I'm part of the problem too, obviously,
Mm,
it's that like XRP is like the biggest fucking community.
yeah.
So we just have like the algo on our side. Like we just have, it's the most like watched coin besides
Mhm.
Bitcoin. So by default, like there's no ETH community. Like nobody gives a fuck, right? Like nobody gives a fuck.
Mhm.
Um and even the Bitcoin thing is like people like me, people come to my channel and they're like, "Oh, are you a Bitcoin maxi?" Because like I'll make a whole video about only Bitcoin, and it's like, well, Bitcoin's the sun of this solar system. Like for now,
Mhm.
at least, until it's not, I will. Until then, I will change the way that I teach. But for now, this is it. It's Bitcoin, Bitcoin dominance, USDT dominance, and then a
Yes.
couple other things. Maybe you want to look at the DXY, etc., VIX, whatever. But
Yeah.
like generally, if you're invested in solely crypto, like there's only one chart you really need to know how to do TA on or understand and have the slightest bit of competence. And it's not the fucking XRP chart. So with that out of the way, I'm still holding more XRP technically than Bitcoin. So I believe that I have to focus on what matters most, even though my investments are where they are. You know, it's like studying the biggest AI company, even though you don't invest in it because you're investing in other more speculative AI companies that you just find to be a better investment. And then you just look at the larger, broad, you know, asset class or whatever to determine the pace at which this is developing, right? Because AI always has some new development, and then you expect the investment that you're in to then move forward with that development, or hopefully have an even better update, right? Or
Mm.
that's kind of my thesis here. So, long story short, I think XRP kind of wins in this idea that you're sharing, and I think it's a very plausible uh, outcome just because of the massive community behind it. Now,
Okay.
I wish this community though would be a little less cultish. That would be a good start because the only reason I say that, and I'm not like trying to start a fight here with anybody, but I just say that because it makes people cringe and it makes like good smart people like not want to get interested and involved. And I think Bitcoin does this same bullshit too. There's nobody that's not done this, but I think XRP really has this like religious like kind of community where
Yeah. Got it.
they go onto Bitcoin stuff and talk shit just because it's about Bitcoin. Like that's a cult like mentality. Like you're a man, focus on your family and your home and what you got going on in your life. You don't like look into somebody else's window of their apartment and judge their lifestyle. It has nothing to do with you. So I see this behavior in both, but like in XRP we see it at scale just because it's at scale. It's one of the few massive crypto communities.
That's
So
fair. And hey, I honestly, that's one of those that it's just the history of the Bitcoin and XRP, and then we got sued, and then everything. It's all fair. I understand it. That's fine.
yeah.
My main concern, not even concern, my main, I guess, curiosity, and
Mhm.
why I really wanted to have you on is because, okay, I see some TA that it has you believing in a certain price level. We've reviewed TA that has different price level scenarios. 8 is a very realistic level. 8 to $10 is like a psychological resistance level. We've been coiled up for 7 years, so maybe even as high as 15 is a very realistic pushing it level. And if
Yeah.
like and if the stars align and we go to the club and drop hundreds of millions of dollars, if we go to $27, cool. But we have different levels that are realistic and even some a little less realistic, but also possible. I guess my question is, and this is your expertise, like, are there any astrological alignments or energies in the universe that seem to be aligning with like the specific July to September timeline that you're referring to for XRP and even in one season?
Yeah, and I apologize earlier if I like glazed over it. I brought up this powerful eclipse in September again.
Yeah.
Like I assume
But
a
that
lot of
eclipse
people.
is that eclipse showing that it's going to retrace in September?
So
That's
let me just quickly explain it so that
okay.
like people are like, what is he saying? I'll give you the explanation.
Yes.
Okay, so like before, very early in this, I brought up the eclipse. Right now, I use the eclipses to determine pivot points in the market. Right, and since we entered the eclipse of March 14th, it was a total lunar eclipse. We've entered what's called a lunar cycle. And in this lunar cycle or this red box is when we complete our bear markets. Okay. So we see over here when we look at the last red box for Bitcoin, we peaked during it. And then we had our lows on the final eclipse of this red box, the final eclipse of the lunar cycle. Then over here, we're going to go back to the last red box, and you'll see that we bottomed on the last eclipse of the lunar cycle. We rose into the start of a solar cycle. Here, we rose into the start of a solar cycle, and it's the same thing every fucking time. So, this that I shared with the world is one of the most powerful charts for all crypto investors. So it's done this over and over and over again. Now, what it did in the last cycle that was different than prior cycles, because here you see we peak before the red box. Here we peak before the red box. We don't have so much data on this. Again, this is a brand new asset. It's only like 14 years old or whatever. So, with this being said, we did peak before the last solar, not the last, but the one back in 2021. You could see before the red box, but then we had another peak and we did it into the exact date of the fucking lunar eclipse.
Okay.
So when we look at what is happening now, if I zoom out, I'm sorry, it's a little, let me turn this off. I know it's a little messy. This is a little better just because this is the cycle we're in. So I want to be like fucking really dialed in. So you can see that we have this eclipse here. We peaked right on it. We have that eclipse coming up. It would be a similar style of the idea here on September 7th. Okay, so everyone can mark that off, September 7th. And why does Waters feel will go up again before that date? Okay, so what we're seeing right now is a very similar essence to what happened over here. The only difference is that here we had Bitcoin do like a 50 something percent correction, like 55%. And over here, we've only had to do a 30%, but it did the correction at the same exact time. It did it based on the eclipse. Everyone could say, oh, it's the tariffs and this, that. Bro, the market is right back to where it was before this astrological event. The same thing over here. So they hit us with narratives on every single major pivot. Like over here, we had what happened with Terra Luna, market collapsed. We had here, bottom with FTX. Literally, both of those events happened on total lunar eclipses. So we're having a total lunar eclipse coming up in a lunar cycle, which is like having a total lunar eclipse back in 2022. And that was met with a negative event. So I have a theory, and I don't want to go too off the rails here. We could revisit it, but I think Michael Saylor is going to get ritualized this year. I don't think he's going to get killed, but I think he will get ritualized.
I think so too. He was on the cover of Forbes, right? Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't look at that
Forbes curse.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later, but like I think that's the way they got to do it. It's like some weird fucking like Illuminati shit, right? So like they need to have a eclipse ritual in order to blame it on why the price is, yeah, you know. So
Yeah.
as for the important astrological event, that to me is the most important one. But for the astrology people that might be here, probably not. But there's this whole like Uranus and Gemini thing that's coming up in July. And the last time that happened was the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki,
Oh my God.
which involved, which,
Waters.
yeah,
Damn.
which
Shit.
involved the USA and Japan. And what's crazy is I released a decode earlier in the year called
Mm,
Year of the Snake Decoded. And that Year of the Snake Decoded, it talked about us having this correction. It talked about us having a higher high after this eclipse and before the following eclipse. So that's two major calls,
mm,
correct? And then
mm,
it also discussed the idea of Bitcoin dominance going up more than where it was at the time, and then an eventual alt season, which we're not there yet, but I'm hopeful that will happen based on the fact that Bitcoin dominance is pretty high right now. So, getting back to the most important piece of this, I brought up how in the year of the snake, we always see the USA get involved in war, and we just had it happen this past weekend. That's one of the most important calls I've ever made because at the time when I was making it, it was before Trump even won the election. And then when he won the election, I doubled down and people were saying he's not going to do anything with this war. And now you can see it just is what it is. Now, whether it's real or I don't know. But we're dealing with the like start of the USA showing that they will get involved in this conflict. And in their involvement, it will be violent. It won't just be like a tweet, you know? So I'm feeling that that could be the next reason for a major pullback that's not like the one we just had. Like
mhm.
I'm talking about like there's some domestic attack with,
Yes.
listen to
Yeah.
me,
I wouldn't be surprised.
with September 11th, that happened during the year of the snake, with
Mm,
the Pearl Harbor event that happened during the year of the snake. So we're in the year of the snake. I would not be surprised if there was a domestic attack on the US somehow, some way, could be a fucking hack, like a cyber attack,
yes.
right?
Sounds
And
good.
that will be the thing that actually makes people like I think that would be the perfect way to end the bull run, in my opinion, because that would be
Makes
the
sense.
real that would be the because it's a cyber attack, that would be against blockchain and all the other shit going on. That would be like something to just push us into that massive 80-90% correction we usually see. So I could entertain that later in the year. And yeah, like there's so much to unpack with what I just said, but I do effectively think that we could have some big events occur this year, and not all of them are going to just keep us moving up and up and up. There will be like a definitive guillotine that chops the
Yes.
head off the snake. And I think Trump will definitely be involved in it in some
Mhm.
capacity. And yeah, I mean, it's like every other market crash. They have to blame it on something.
Yeah, yeah, because there's two like even the current World War III narrative thing that's going on right now. It's not bad enough to stop all the markets from being sky high, right? So it's like
Right.
there needs to be that singular black swan event. There's been plenty of different styles of predictive programming, like the cyber attack narrative that they've been having since COVID, right? The cyber pandemic. They
Right.
were even talking about Iranian cyber things, attack on the control grid narratives I saw on Twitter and even on some articles recently. So they're like priming
Yeah.
the masses for that
And you guys
potential.
want to
So
know
I
the
wouldn't be
truth? It's
shocked at
not going to be Israel. It's not going to be Iran. It's not going to be Russia. It's not going to be China. It's going to be your government.
all. Yep, that's true.
Wake up. If that offends you with what I'm saying right now, I'm sorry, but that's
Wouldn't be
how it
shocked.
goes because they are all playing golf together right now.
Can I ask for a favor? Can you go to the chart you had on the screen before very quickly? Because you're say in the 2021 peak cycle, it peaked right before the second lunar eclipse, and what your hypothesis is that we continue to a somewhat similar scenario for Bitcoin right
Y-
before the second eclipse, and after we peak there, we can have our altcoin season or right around.
Or we get a new thing, which by the way, this doesn't this has been in a forever bull run, right? Bitcoin's in a
This has been
forever.
what?
I'm just going to explain something so people can understand what I'm about to reveal. A third case scenario, that would be the best case, in my opinion. But we have been in a forever bull run for Bitcoin. It's just perpetually hitting new all-time highs and going into price discovery and holding higher lows, right? So my theory that I'm like working through is we've already done something like this. Technically, we're complete. Imagine we actually go up one more time, but it's not so much. It's only like 125, like 130 max. Okay. Then we get to the, well, let me try to time it. So, like, it would happen before this. And we go up to like 130. And then we have another 30% correction, right? And here is where alt season starts.
Yeah.
On this 30% correction, here's where alt season starts. And then Bitcoin actually goes up one more time, like this, like a true blow off top. So we get these 30% corrections along the way. Sorry about the noise in the background. I'm not sure if it's coming through my mic.
No. Everything's good.
Okay. So we did this in 2017. The same. These 30% corrections pushed up. 30% correction pushed up. We did it like 7 times. So I think that's a possibility where Bitcoin does get to like the 150 level in a very sharp, violent move. And it's then the energy is then cut off by like that scenario that I told you about, like some sort of crazy like real deal black swan, like some serious shit. But this is right now where the alt season happens on this move down. Bitcoin has a full like reset. And yeah, I think that's very possible. That little bit of liquidity added to take Bitcoin from 100 to, or actually lately, Bitcoin stole even more liquidity. So yeah, let's just say everything from like 80 to that 135 range. That's a lot of fucking money. If just that flew over, if just that went over into the alts, I think that would be enough to get XRP to, $15 territory.
Absolutely. Makes a lot
And
of
then
sense.
this additional move up, I'm not calling for, by the way. That idea, I'm just
It's just
telling
an
people.
idea, yeah.
It's an idea that I think many people would actually agree with. Like, to have an alt season start here would be much more normal. That's what happened back in this cycle. Let me show you real quick. Alt season technically happened here into this big 30% correction for Bitcoin. It doesn't
Yes.
look like it. It doesn't look like it, but it was. This correction right here,
Yes.
30% Bitcoin dominance fucking fell apart right there. As Bitcoin had that correction, everything from December to March went up pretty much 1,000% or more. Even
Yes.
fucking XRP. So it's not happening right now, right? And the reason is because Bitcoin dominance is only at 65%. I think we also need to see a blow off top in Bitcoin dominance, in my opinion. I think we need to see something like that where, sorry, this indicator's on. But yeah, when Bitcoin dominance has this final swipe, like you see over here, that was January 2021, right? So as Bitcoin was having that 30% correction right here, all the altcoins were going ape shit. So I'm thinking it's going to go like that. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to go like that.
Interesting.
ETH is telling me that. ETH is giving me a lot of confidence as to why it will go like that, because look at where ETH is. We're not even back at the all-time highs. It's 100% to go.
Yeah.
Unless ETH just takes a total shit and it's no longer relevant and nobody, I mean, that'll be the day. It's been funny. I've been very bearish on ETH lately and I've been getting a lot of hate for it. But it's just because this chart looks fucking miserable for how it went last cycle.
So what happens when you spend a decade trying to scale to like 10 transactions a second?
Yeah. Hey man, it is what it is. Actually, I think the project I'm the most bullish on is XLM right now and Doge. But XLM, like, I'm considering just like going all in on XLM.
Oh, even over XRP? How come? What's the rationale?
Just more ROI, even though that sounds like a greedy thing to say, but reminder, I'm a professional technical analyst and trader, so it's not like I'm just like pulling this shit out of my like ass. Like I do believe there's a strong move coming that's similar to the one that happened in 2017 for XRP. So why not would I share that same theory for XLM,
Yes.
right?
I
Like
know.
look at this major move up, break into this sorry, there really wasn't much of a technical thing to go by here. I think it was just rising with Bitcoin dominance breaking down. But with this correction right here, I think we're doing that now. Same with what just happened with XRP. And this first initial move to the downside was our April 7th tariff shit. And what just happened this weekend, the Iran situation, that's this move to the bottom. And now we're right there. We're getting ready to have that swipe up to get to the about 0.5 fib, like somewhere in the middle zone. So let's call it like 37, 36, 35 cents. And then once Bitcoin breaks out above 112 and starts heading into 115, it will get back to its prior highs rapidly, and then it will shoot through with XRP. So I think it's just going to follow XRP.
Excellent.
The reason why I'm thinking about like going all in on XLM is because look at how much lower XLM is in, or let's say it like this. XLM has 274% to go just to retest prior all-time highs. Well, what does XRP have? Like 35%? Okay, 55%. So you get to get XLM like when comparison of like when XRP was 80 or 90 cents. So it's an opportunity right now. I don't necessarily think I could call XRP an opportunity if my conservative target is 8, right? Like we're hopeful that Bitcoin dominance really falls to Hades and we get that 15, 20, etc. But you get that pretty much 200% just by getting it now on XLM. I call that a win.
Interesting. Very interesting. XRP and XLM tend to move at the same time. So,
Yep.
hypothetically speaking, though, if one or the other moves first, I think rotating profits from one to the other is an absolute mandatory thing to do.
Yeah, I just don't think that's gonna happen. Like I again coming back to what you were trying to say earlier, I just don't see that because while we were talking, I've looked at a bunch of different charts, Litecoin,
Yeah,
ETH, XLM. They all topped pretty much at the same time.
that's
So
true. That's true. You are right.
if we do get, but hey bro, why does it have to be exactly the same? It
Yeah,
doesn't. It
yeah.
doesn't.
But
Like the
the only reason
popularity of XRP today is way different than it was back in
the only
2017.
reason I bring up XRP is maybe having a bit of a front running move is solely because um if we follow the 2017 type narrative that or move that we made, XRP did move ahead of the rest of the market in its own kind of isolated bull run, and then everything else did its thing a little after. So
Yeah.
that is the singular reason why I bring that up as a possible scenario that I really want to happen. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be great, obviously, for people that are heavy XRP, big
Oh yeah.
XRP portfolios.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, for the people that are looking for opportunities today, like I think XLM is a good opportunity. Not financial advice, but this is one of those where I'm like, wow, Bitcoin dominance is moving up as we speak. Bitcoin's about to break into price discovery again, and this fucking shit is 250% from retesting or 300% from retesting all-time highs. Like that's crazy. That's
Amazing.
crazy. Same with Doge, like
Mm,
absolutely crazy how much of an opportunity this is here at 18 cents.
don't
Just
even blame you.
getting back to all-time highs is 350%. And this has always hit the 1618, by the way, unlike XRP.
What is
XRP only did
Stellar's
it
price right now?
maybe 24. Let me check real quick. 24 cents, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if like I'm a big believer in the Stellar and XRP just correlation, and if we're trying to look at that just in and of itself,
Mhm.
there is probably more ROI in Stellar to be had. you're not
Yeah.
wrong.
And you know, it's so funny. People that are hearing this that have heard the way that I've talked about this before are gonna be like, "Well, you just said not to invest in X." I was like, "Bro, like we're talking about today, dog. Like, look at everything that matters. The only thing that matters is now, right? Isn't that
Mm,
the only thing that matters? Like when I said I wasn't investing in gold back in 2021 to 2022, it didn't mean that I was never going to invest in gold. Like
absolutely.
it's just
And
right now, what I'm looking at right now. Like if you don't need a weatherman. Like go outside and look at the fucking sky. Like if you see clouds coming, like chances of rain are possible, okay? Like people who learn how to actually read these charts, they can get away with this kind of stuff because they can determine like, okay, this is not the best time to enter an asset. This is a more ideal time to enter an asset. So when we have XRP pressing against price discovery today, in my opinion, it is not as much of an ROI opportunity as XLM. So it's more just wisdom to help people like who are maybe just like, what do I do right now? I
mm,
found this XRP thing last week because of a bearable bull video. It's
mhm,
what do I do? Because you know what people in the XRP community love to do? They're
mm,
like, they want a pullback all the time, right? Like it's $2.30, and they're like, when will it go to two? And then two happens, and then they want 180. They were doing the same shit at 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents.
yeah.
So this is to help people to be like, you have so many of those opportunities right now. Don't get caught up in being like an XRP maxi. Okay. Like alt season is amazing if you diversify. It's like monkeys playing darts. You could fucking be 30 feet off
Yes.
the board and still get a
Yes.
10x. And
Yes.
I wish I looked at it that way back in the last cycle. I
Yeah.
wish I looked at it that way in the last cycle.
Yes.
So this is because of experience. It's not because I'm throwing shade.
Yeah. No, absolutely right, brother. Absolutely right. Dude, you've given a lot. I think the community is more prepared for due to everything you've shared today. I got nothing else for you. You did more than well enough for everyone to take what they want from it. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Any little warnings? Any little 2 cents gems that maybe you want to finish us off with?
No, man. I mean, I think we covered a lot. I think we got through the philosophy of like how I'm looking at things at the moment. Like I'm trying to see opportunities. I'm not memeing, everything. Like it is what it is. We have to have an exit strategy prepared and
Yeah.
don't find things on the internet, take them at face value and go against your own investment thesis or at least have one, because I think that's what's going on a lot. And it's because X is so powerful. So
Mm,
people who come across my work, I just want them to like look at everything as a conscious being. Like you're gonna see me releasing information that I'm de-risking my XRP when it hits double digits. And you're gonna be like, well, I thought you said it would go to 20. And we're gonna be all over that like every
mm,
day. You know what I'm saying? So like I really hope that people take this time seriously to create an investment thesis. Everybody got fleeced in the last cycle because they wanted more,
mm,
you know? So
yeah.
that's really the last thing I could say is don't be that guy. Like it's
Yes.
very, very important that you're not that guy. And I'm gonna be tracking this cycle the whole time. So I would love to reconnect with you. It'd be great to see how next month plays out. I believe
Absolutely.
if I had to give something very detailed as like a final just stream of consciousness before we wrap this up is it would make a lot of sense that after July 11th, after the next full moon, that we see pretty much everything go up in synchronicity. And I think what we're seeing right now with the stock market, we should be closing off this month or opening up next month, which is like 5 days away, pushing into price discovery for the Nasdaq, like not just like this day today, like we should actually continue. And it's because we're mimicking what happened in the C19 crash. The recovery is happening on the same days. So that's really cool to have that compass.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think so. Something came to mind before I let you go. Actually, if you
Hmm.
don't mind working on it.
Sure.
I've been getting a lot of feedback from a lot of very professional people that I know, warning me that they expect 2026 to be an absolute catastrophe of a crash year.
Yeah.
Now, whether it starts in 2025 or it happens in 2020, I'm not sure. That's
Yeah.
not my forte. But what I'm being told is 2026 is going to look like a bloodbath beyond
Yeah.
our wildest imaginations.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's what I'm preparing for. I think
Mhm.
after, like, I do this yearly Chinese zodiac decode. It's something I release every single year to kind of decode the entire year in advance.
Yeah.
And this prior one that I did while I was doing it, instead of like last year where I just hyper focused solely on the year that I was in, what I did was I went a little deeper and I tried to prepare for patterns that were in the following year, which is the year of the horse. And that actually helped me dial in my decode for this year even more, believe it or not. So I'm glad that I did it, because a year prior to it even occurring, I'm seeing themes that show pretty much the worst of whatever's happening in the world at that time happens during the year of the horse. So what I mean by that is, like, the most deaths in World War One and World War Two happened during the horse year, the year that they started doing like the mass extermination. The mass exterminations were happening during the year of the horse uh in World War Two. And then we had I'm trying to remember the exact event, but it was the Asian Asian people being brought to concentration camps in the United States of America just because
Mhm.
they were Asian, like, even though it was the Japanese people that did, like, that happened during the horse year. Also, mass deportations were happening during that same year. So I have a theory, and I do think it's a really fascinating one that I'm gonna work on much more before I actually release my Year of the Horse decode. But the elite, the New World Order, they've just flooded the world with all of these peoples of different cultures that have no understanding of the culture in the world that they've just entered, right? And this creates a lot of chaos. Now, I'm not trying to say that one culture is better than the other. It's just when they mix on their soil, it doesn't typically end well, right?
In
We
capacity that is not that is a little like unprepared for, right?
Yeah, yeah. And we saw what happened during the prior 4-year administration. I'm not going to call it Biden's fault. It's fucking irrelevant because it was globalist. It happened
Yes.
everywhere in the
It
world at the
happened
same
everywhere,
time.
yes.
So the fact that it happened everywhere in the world, and that I'm seeing this pattern for the horse year, it tells me, like, oh my God, that's a crazy chess move. They're gonna flood in all across the world. And then in the year of the horse, which is 2 years, technically 2 to 3 years later, they're going to create so much fucking chaos for those peoples that went into those countries, right? The people that had to leave, or the people that left because of, whatever inside job psyop that they're trying to pull off. Now,
Mm.
that's really fascinating because there could easily be an event that they orchestrate to bring that type of chaos. And now the reason why they would do that, for the people that want to know, like, why would they do that? Well, it's the same reason they did 9/11. There's a strategy behind the inside job. So it's to create more surveillance, but ultimately to create digital identification. So they'll flood in all these countries with these people that clearly are legal, right? And now there's so many other things that happen during those years leading up to that event, right? We've already seen it happen. But
Mhm.
then the year of the event, it's the perfect excuse to be like, oh, well, we need to give you guys safety, because whatever event that occurred, like, it was so devastating and the people want safety. It's the same with C-19. So put on a mask, shut up, like, stay safe. And people go, sure, right? This is the power play. So in order to get digital identification in the new way, where we won't have IDs anymore, like, we'll have some sort of biometric QR code type shit, that will happen from this event. And I don't know if it'll happen necessarily in 2026, that type of change, but I do think the event will happen in 2026 that will get that ball accelerating, And as for the market side of things, I think it just needs to correct because it's all overvalued. And I think AI is popping that bubble. Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
AI is just a bunch of bullshit anyways. So it's like I I think that humans are so gullible, and the over speculation on AI
Hmm.
is dangerous. It's no different than the tech bubble, and it's no different than NFTs or a lot of the shit that happens here in crypto with the meme
Oh,
coins,
of
right? So
course. Of
I
course.
think it's more alike than it is different. I'm not trying to say that like crypto is a saint. I actually don't like crypto in a lot of ways because I get what the agenda is there. But yeah, to just summarize the idea, I think we're in an everything bubble, and people are starting to get to a position where they don't know how they're going to afford the future, and that makes people nervous, and that makes people very anxious, and that makes people depressed, because when the future's grim, people stop doing things that make them feel present and excited, and they stop having kids, and they stop going for relationships, and they stop their self-improvement, and they get lazy, right? So I think we're just gonna have like a '08 type thing occur. It won't just be solely housing, and it'll obviously be a different type of crash, but it's gonna feel like that, which was way different than the 9/11 scenario. 9/11 actually brought people together, funny enough. Like,
Hmm.
I know you're a New Yorker, I'm a New Yorker. When 9/11 happened, it brought people together. When
Yeah.
C-19 happened, it tore us apart. I think the
Yes.
next event that'll happen will be even more division. It'll be even more like, I'm not sure what to do. So I
Hmm.
think, like, people need to get savvy on, like, what do you value in life? Like, what do you value about this existence? And it has to be something more than getting rich.
Absolutely, dude. That's that's so on point. Um, right, money is only a tool. That's never been the end result, right? They're numbers on a screen or pieces of paper at the end of the day. And what is real is the freedom, the impact, the people in your lives, relationships, and what you could do with it. So, um, not a better way to cap it off, bro. Not a better way.
Well, it was great reconnecting with you, man.
I love
Hope you're
you, Uncle.
doing hope you're doing well, man. Love you too. Wishing you the best as always.
Hey, you as well, dude. Hey, we'll reconnect soon. We'll see how the market's playing out. If you feel the need to tell the audience any emergency warnings here and there, like you see any changes or anything that's extremely definitive, please don't hesitate to ask, dude. I
Oh,
appreciate you.
for sure, man. Appreciate you too, brother.
Yep. Much love.
Much love.